Hey folks, this is Best in Slot. Welcome back to Oakwood Zoo. This is our modded zoo for Planet Zoo. I've said the word zoo far too many times already. Basically, whenever a really cool mod comes out, or I just find one I particularly am in the mood for, we are going to build a little habitat for it. And today we're going to build a very cool spectacle, well not very cool, but we're going to build a habitat for the very cool spectacled bear. This was made by, I think I've got this right, so it's Narwhal / Whiskasaur. I think that's like an alternate name. I hope. And the original art it was based on, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is a guy called Julio, whatever you want to call him. Well, I'm sure he wants to be called something in particular. So, we're going to do the spectacled bear, mainly because I was googling spectacled bears after this to do a little more research on them and what kind of environment they would live in, and the babies are so adorable that I could not resist. So we're going to make sure we get some babies as well. Now, my idea for this habitat, like we said, you know, this is slightly lower on the theming in this park. It's all about making a habitat that feels like it could be in an actual zoo, at least a little bit. It's not really my thing entirely, so we're not going too hard in that direction, but there's a little bit more of that. You know, you can see the walls and, you know, you can see staff buildings and all that kind of jazz. And the only idea I had for this, I wanted to do a pool, because they like to swim, and have like a cave shelter behind it, and have a waterfall going over the front of the cave, so the bears would have to walk through the waterfall to get to their resting area, their little hidden away cave resting area kind of thing. So that's kind of what we're lining up right there at the back. Whether they want to have to go through a waterfall to get to their resting area, I don't know. Probably not every single time. We're like, well, I'm tired, but I want to stay dry for once. Thanks, Best in Slot. But they have to, okay? Because it looks cool. So that's what we're doing. I had a little bit of an idea. I don't know whether I'm going to integrate this into other exhibit builds, but to have this rock here, this kind of, if we pretend that these are real rocks hewn from the earth or fake rocks that have been excessively painted to look more like real rocks, you know, these actual real rocks we have here, then these are the rocks you'd want at the front of your exhibit. And then maybe if you were going to build something and you had like a back bit that people aren't going to see as much, you would use the more clearly fake rock. Does that make sense? Kind of, you know, like when I have to reference The Office here, but Dwight, when he sells his beets at the side of the road, he puts the nice beets at the front. They're the money beets, right? These are the money rocks, and the rocks at the back are going to be the fake rocks because there's less effort put into making them look real because you don't see them as much. So it's kind of like an in-universe justification. I could have just used these rocks, but I kind of felt like messing around with that idea. Anyways. For a long time, this exhibit is going to look awful. Just as a forewarning. For such a long time, it looks like an exhibit I would have built about 300 hours ago. Until I put the foliage in, and then it kind of comes to life a little bit. I will admit it still feels a little bit weird building stuff like this, and I might have to bring in a little bit more theming just to maintain my sanity, I suppose, but we'll see how it goes for the next one. There are so many great mods out there. Another thing I considered, Leaf and Nicholas, I believe they've teamed up for this one, correct me if I'm wrong. There's a flamingo pack, and it contains like 5 new flamingos and like 12 new decorations or something. It's absolute madness. The fact that this, I don't know, it's great stuff. So I was tempted to do like a full-on flamingo habitat. There's also a couple of different guinea fowls, so I was going to do like a joint guinea fowl habitat. This whole habitat, I will say, does end up looking slightly Asian inspired, whereas the spectacled bear is actually the only bear species, as far as I know, currently existent in South America. It is a South American bear, but it's not really a tropical bear. It lives more in the mountainous regions. That's why there's going to be a lot of this kind of rock. There's not going to be many big trees. I did stay away from the tropical area in general in terms of foliage. There's a lot of rock, and there's a lot of... We end up building a slight castle kind of vibe, and that's kind of where the Southeast Asian influence comes from, but it's just because all the temple stuff looks a little too temple-y, a little bit too jungle-y, you know? Anyways, building our little waterfall that they have to crawl through. That's a little sleepy area there. It is currently based on the sun bear, because... well, it just is. But I know they've got plans to change it to the grizzly bear, which, in terms of environment, would definitely make a lot more sense. So that'll change down the line. And we're going to start sort of plotting rocks absolutely bloody everywhere. You have to have a good base. Like, don't think of rocks as a thing. Okay, that's a very confusing sentence. Don't think of rocks as an addition to your terrain, right? They're not. They're not an addition to the terrain. They are a natural extension of the terrain. They're part of it. They're part of what makes the terrain the terrain. So you've got little rocks poking out the terrain, you've got big rocks poking out the terrain. Sometimes your terrain will look like it's literally just made of rock. So I like to put all the rock in first and use that as a base for where the foliage will come in later. Now, what I also really wanted to do was have a lot of climbing stuff. You know, these bears love to climb around, as a lot of bears do, and I wanted to... I've not built a climbing frame in probably a year and a half. I don't do it, it's just not something I really ever do. We've kind of built somewhat climbing frames for like the koala habitat, for example, in Australian Zoo, but really it's not something I focus on. And I was going to use one of the pre-built ones, but I resisted. And I liked the idea that the bears could climb up and walk over the top of the waterfall in their sort of sleeping habitat thing. I do have to keep opening the Planet Zoo one to see what a climbing frame looks like, because as I say, this is not something I ever really do. I'm surprised they can climb ones that are that steep as well, but, you know, they're in the official one, so I assume it works. I hope it works, because I've bloody built it now. If it doesn't work, we're kind of screwed. That one might be a bit too steep, actually, now that I look at it. Oh, that's a risky business. We'll see what happens. It's fine. I can always stick some, like a slightly better slope over the top of it or something like that. Anywho, so yeah, just, I didn't want to do many too thin ones, just because they are bears and they're larger and stuff like that. So we're going to stick with these fairly chunky little blocks here. Oh, I did. This is actually my second attempt at making this habitat. I spent about half an hour on it earlier today. And it was just huge. You know, the hardest thing to do is make exhibits small. It sounds weird, but I made like this basic shape and I wanted to see what environment these bears were set to live in. I think because it's based on the sun bear, that's the environment, but we're going to ignore that. And I put the bear in and it just disappeared. It felt like the penguins all over again. But even worse, you just couldn't see the bloody thing. My natural inclination is to make the exhibit about 4 times this big. So when you're trying to base it more on a real zoo where, you know, how the guests perceive it is actually important, which is not something I usually care about, it was hard work to a little bit to kind of rein in a lot of my more excessive tendencies. Anyways, didn't like how the wood looked. It was floating. I thought, okay, yeah, we can put some... I'm going to try to do a wall thing here, but it didn't work, so we can ignore that. We could put some logs under it, and we will under some parts, but I wanted some of it to feel quite sturdy. Bears are big. I liked the idea of having this sort of castle slightly built into the rock, this kind of remnants of an old castle kind of facility kind of thing. And we're going to bring in some mist and stuff like that as well. Again, I was looking at images online, and there was all these bears coming out of the misty mountains, and it looked really cool, so I kind of wanted to get that feeling across. The mist in the game doesn't usually look fantastic. It clumps up a little bit too much and it doesn't take on colour well enough, so it causes issues. But is what it is, basically. Can't do much about it. So yeah, just gonna solidify all of this area here, make it look nice. I do want to say quickly, I've had a few comments about this park already. The idea for this park is not to make it a consistent series or an ever-ending series. It is meant to be just, if a cool mod comes out, we'll come highlight it. Think of it as a mod spotlight with some park building along the way. You know, it could be 2 weeks, it could be 2 days. I'm not going to commit to a schedule for this one. I accept that the Southeast Asian build isn't super quick right now, but there's been a lot of other stuff going on, and obviously that build will, you know, it's chill. It'll continue over time. We'll get there. We'll get there. Do not panic, my dudes and dudettes, and what if you don't identify as any gender? What's the dude equivalent? You have dude and dudettes. Dudex? I don't know. Question for the ages. Who knows? Anyways, so I wanted a mix of the harder surfaces and some logs, because logs are cool. Everyone loves a good log. Does anyone not like logs? People operating a dam or a river service near beavers probably don't like logs. They may be the only people who don't like logs, though. Let me know in the comment section down below who doesn't like logs. Answers on a postcard. Anyway, so that's the basic foundation. I'm going to put the hammock up top in that little area because I thought it looked cool. I'm not convinced they'll be able to use it. I think what I have to do is bring it down, find the area that they climb on and off, and hope I can organise it like that. I might try to expand the area, but it's probably never going to work, so whatever. But it's there for thematic purposes. So I'm doing my favourite thing here. This is really something I started to learn to do because of Prehistoric Kingdom. And in Prehistoric Kingdom there's a really nice rock that you can kind of sink into the ground that's got all these multi-level little thin layers of rock, like jagged rock on top, and if you sink it into a hill, it kind of makes this really nice rocky hill path kind of look. So I'm doing the same kind of thing with the Planet Zoo rocks as well. Right now it's very grey and very boring. Trust me, I know. I was looking at it thinking, this sucks. This is so bad. But I should have trusted that as soon as I filled the thing with foliage to the nines, it did come together a little bit at the end. And yeah, just making those rocks. You see what I mean? Where it's kind of, because the hill has been built in like 3 levels. It's sloped and smoothed, but it's built in 3 levels, so you can kind of smooth it down. They're a little bit too samey. I'm gonna have to change that up. But you can kind of put the rock above the 2nd level, but below the 3rd, and kind of push it back into the wall, and it kind of makes it look like the side of the hill is rock, but then it's not all the way along. It's very hard to explain, but I think it looks nice. A little bit of fence. I am using the East Asia fence because thematically it just kind of worked. Again, the South America fence was not appropriate for this. I think what we're going to do for this zoo, I'm not sure yet, still thinking about it. I'm just doing like a little bear display area here. It's basically going to be organised by location, so this will be the South America location, and it'll all use the same path, probably the same fence, so we'll have to use a different fence for Asia, I suppose. So this will be South America, the one with the penguins will be Australia, and what I'm going to do at some point is just sketch out a main area and an entrance. I'm not going to spend much time on it yet, I will eventually, but I'm going to sketch it out, and then all these other areas are going to spiral off there and coalesce and eventually blend together into the Mega Zoo, which I know people are panicked about the Mega Zoo, because Mega Zoos tend to die. I have a long history of dead Mega Zoos. But we'll do it for a little bit. We'll see how much. We can go a lot further than we have right now, right? So, anywho, so I'm using the South American foliage that isn't tropical. So we're basically going to use a ton of foliage that I've never ever used before, including these bushes, just because I never do South America that isn't tropical, because I associate South America with tropical. When I was in South America, it was largely tropical, although I did go up into the mountains and it was very misty and cold. Interesting, it's very appropriate for this. Yeah, it was nice actually to use all this stuff. There's some stuff we have used, like the holly trees, etc., but things like the bracken I never use. We're going to use a lot of bracken. And again, these hydrangea bushes, stuff like that. And just, yeah, stick some foliage. Try to make it look nice. I've decided the bushes aren't necessarily bushes. They're kind of just bulky plants that kind of pop out of rocks. Because it doesn't matter. No realism. Just vibes. Okay? And then this is where it kind of started to come together for me. The bracken creates like a really nice ground texture. You need multi-level foliage for things to work. You need little foliage and medium foliage and big foliage and big foliage. You don't always need big foliage, but you need a nice mix. I have such an aversion to the bare ground. I don't know why, it's such a stupid thing to hate, but I hate the ground. The ground must be destroyed, and as soon as I see like a blank spot, I think, oh, something has to go there, something has to go there, and that counts for this zoo as well. One thing I really like to do is abuse one thing that's nice about this actually, because the viewer, the guests have a very predetermined view of the habitat, you can kind of play with realism a little bit and it doesn't really matter. You can sink things down, raise things up illogically or unrealistically, because like I'm trying to do that one didn't quite work, but that one did, just because the viewer doesn't see it, so it doesn't matter. It's an illusion, ladies and gentlemen. It's like in video games, right? When you look at a box, the back of the box doesn't exist, okay? Because what's the point in rendering the back of the box? What's the point in rendering the bottom of the tree? Doesn't exist. It's not really the same thing. I really like how this little stream looks. It's a very thin, tiny, rocky little stream at the bottom. Again, this is something you see in zoos all the time, right? This kind of moat at the very front. I didn't want to go too hard on the water for it, just because we do already have the little waterfall pool, but I did want it to, I wanted it to exist, and I thought because it's right below the waterfall, it makes sense that some water would have seeped down into the area. Doesn't it look like 1,000 times better than about 2 minutes ago? It's nothing special, don't get me wrong, but it's a hell of a step up compared to where it was. Bringing a little bit of fence in, always a good idea to do a double fence in a zoo habitat. Maybe less so for like big glass viewing areas, but for open areas like this, especially for a dangerous animal, double viewing area. The whole purpose being to make it look more like a real zoo, because real zoos always have these because it's a deterrent for people to climb over, and I don't know, it's just more safety and stuff like that. I'm sure that's, I don't know if that's the reason, but I assume that's the reason anyway. So top tip, always do a double, and always put trees at the back because trees are the best. Eucalyptus feeder, just some general zoo stuff. It's really nice not having to hide those. You know, I think I said that last time. Usually I'd have to tuck them away behind a tree, but now it's just, yeah, get out in the open. I'm gonna mess around with some other bears, but the other bears all kind of suck. The other statues all kind of suck. I'm keeping that one. I really like the stone statue. I'm sure there's a good time and use for the golden ones and the silver ones and stuff like that, but the stone ones are just, they're classy, you know? Stone things are classy. They're well known for that. Little thingamajiggy here. Thing for the TV, which will become our education board. I need to go make that before we hop in game. I'm going to change it up. I had a look at the one from the last video, the penguin, and I really don't like it, so I'm going to mess that up a little bit. I like this idea. I've never done this before. I don't know why I never thought to do that. I'm sure other people have. But just putting loads of fruit in, because it's a bear. Bears love fruit, right? I was going to put it in a bowl, but nah, just have it lying there. It's all sitting there. The bears can come along and chomp down on it if they want. I was trying desperately to find a way to make this thing more exciting, but for the life of me, I couldn't. Also, I hate these faces. I'm sorry, faces. I keep trying to use them in a habitat, and it is impossible because they look stupid. I went a little hard on the mist initially here, but I reined it back in a little bit. I do like, I mean, that's too much, but I did end up putting quite a bit in. It always looks nicer in the shadow, so I did try to keep it towards the back. Yeah, I don't know. It looks alright. How are we doing? Oh, it's nearly time. It's very exciting. Missed. Yes, I was going to duplicate that. I'm going to go make the sign in a second, and then we'll hop in game and put those on. A little bit more plant life. Grass is great. It's just a side note, really. And that is about it. So you can see, just show you very quickly. So I hop back up. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. It's too close to scroll. Come on. Technically, I'm doing that to myself. Yeah, so that is our Australian section over there. That is our South American section over there. I was kind of zooming up. So I think if I put like the zoo entrance, I might put it at the other side because we're quite low down at the moment towards the actual zoo entrance. Although we can delete that. But the zoo entrance should be more towards the middle. Yeah. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to find the dead center. I'm going to put a zoo entrance in. It's just going to be like a fountain or some rubbish in the middle, little zoo sign, entrance, and then it's going to just splay off like a spider web, basically, or like a ripple effect, all out from the middle, all these different sections. It'll be like 10 gates or something all surrounding you, and you just pick which one you follow, and it takes you down to that section. And they'll all interconnect, of course, but I like that idea. It's kind of like a video game where you're choosing a level, basically, and you'll see the theme of each one right from the very start and stuff like that as well. I think that's quite a cool idea. This is basically the Mega Zoo. Yeah. Anyways, so that's going to be up there somewhere. And then over time, what we'll do is if we add another Australian habitat or we add another South American habitat, we'll just build towards the middle. And once I've got that middle established, then whatever the next animal is, wherever it's from, that can kind of come out from the middle straight away. And we can build the entrance and stuff like that. Sound like a plan? Sound like a plan. Right, I'm going to build a info sign and then we'll hop in game. Right, here we are then in our little build thingamajiggy. First things first, we need to set up our education signs. Should have some lovely new images here. Boom, there we go. Our spectacled bear, Tremoctus ornatus. As you see, I've modded the design a little bit to make it a little bit more zoo appropriate. And we'll nip over here, do the exact same thing. Where are we? There we go. There we go. Still got the Oakwood kind of vibe, but just a little bit more square and neat and put together. And he's adorable. Hello. Right, okay, so first things first, we need some blimmin' bears, don't we? I do have a few. I have none. Okay, that was my last save file. Never mind. Stupid bears. Okay, how are we looking? We're gonna be looking sexy, I'm pretty sure. Are we looking sexy? Oh, yeah. I'd like to be able to get through this gap here. It seems unlikely without me kind of rearranging absolutely everything. If I just shuffle a couple of rocks to the side, maybe it'll happen. There you go, buddy. Do your thing. To the top with you. They're slightly odd-looking creature, aren't they? Short-nosed bears. in general, but they're very cool. And they stand out. It's nice. It's nice that they do stand out amongst all the other bears. Now, oh, Riley. Okay, let's speed up time because I want a baby. A baby bear, not a... I don't personally want a baby. Well, not right now, anyway. Why did they keep moonwalking on this top bit? Are you going to do it as well? Wait for it. Wait for it. Because it's free. Aww. Well, I guess one of you had to be normal. The rest of you are bloody weirdos. It's baby time. And Laurie, our lovely spectacled bear, deciding to have a baby on a slope. So the baby pops out and just goes bloop, 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 and tumbles down the hill. You know, whatever works for you, Laurie. I'm not here to judge. I'm not a spectacled bear. I've never given birth, nor have I given birth to a spectacled bear. So you really have an advantage on me in many ways here. Way in. They don't like to. They don't tend to like to give birth when you're staring at them. You're just staring. They don't tend to like to give birth when you're staring at them. If I hide here, they'll never know. They'll never know. Offspring imminent. There we go. There we go. Somehow sitting down helped. Baby Picari. Right, Picari, buddy. I need you to come and stand in the light. Okay. Let's get you over here. The baby's inspired me to pick the spectacled bear, so it's important. Let's go onto the cam. Buddy, you're standing in the worst possible location. Please turn around. Yeah, look how cute they are! Those little spectacles, super bright and shiny with the babies. Look at it! It's adorable! Am I being over the top crazy? I don't think I'm being crazy. I think it is that cute. This is the baby series from now on, okay? It's all about the baby. I'm just going to grab a screenshot quickly. Bear with. Get it? Bear with. Bear down for midterms. You get me. Gonna go for a little swim. A swim swam. I can't tell if the screen's too bright or if it's because the light through my window is just searing right now. Don't swim inside each other. That's the deal. Oh, close enough. They look a bit weird when wet, don't they? It's like you see the basil model completely when they're wet. Well, that makes sense, I suppose. The fur's all matted down. Wants to go inside. I'm going to put a little lamp in here, I think. I just want like a hanging light. See that? It's fine. It's really tough, this, because it's not been that long since I played Three-Star Kingdom, and the games are so similar in so many ways, but not quite all the ways. There's a few differences in how they handle, and it makes it a little confusing sometimes to hop between the two. Make this a nice warm colour. And set it to always on. Not that you can see it, but let's just make it nighttime. Yeah. Oh, hello, buddy. What are you doing over there? Picari? You're a troublemaker, you. I can feel it. Get in there. We'll have to do some lights outside as well. Oh, that looks really nice in there, though. Look how it's shimmering under the waterfall, the light. And then the bear. I kind of want to give it... Can we give it evil eyes? Is that too far? It probably is too far, but also I don't care, so... We've done this before. I'm pretty sure when it first came out, I did this. It lights up the mouth as well. It's very cool. Oh, now I can't. God damn it. I can't select the lights anymore. There we go. Oh, come here. Get out of the way, bear! Alright, come here. Such hard work to change some bloody colours. You have to let me do some stupid things. I'll go insane if I don't do any stupid things. Oh, it kind of looks happy, not evil. Up close, from a distance, I get the evil vibes more than anything else. Yeah, just some lampposts outside. Did we have lampposts over here? I built like a little custom light, didn't I? Yeah, I remember. Well, not really. It's not custom at all. I'll do that later anyway. Alright. Alright. Anyways, yeah, that is the fantastic Spectacled Bear mod by Narwaller and with inspiration from Julio, who's the artist. I can't remember the last name, I'm very sorry about that. Actually, I'll check. I'm a professional YouTube man. Oh, I did check the flamingos as well, and it was indeed by Leaf and Nicholas. Oh, the Julio bit's gone now. Wait, what? Oh no, Julio Lacerdas. Lacadar. One of those two. Lacerda. Shout out to them as well. What are you doing boxed up, buddy boy? Chirappa. Alright. Right, that is about it from me. Thank you so much for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to see the baby. There it is. Chowing down. Nom nom nom. Thank you so much for joining. Oh, it's so cute. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you lovely folks next time. Cheers much love as always. Oh, if you like the video, throw me a like. That would be super cool beans. And yo, if you like the video, throw me a like, comment. People who want to see more episodes of this kind of thing, it really is dependent on how it does. You know, if these videos were amazing and blowing up, you know, I do a video every few days. I'd happily do that. But I have to also pay rent, so it's up to you guys. Hit that like button. Smash it, bros. Just feels dirty every time I try to do that. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.